The second thing we're going to take a look at is differentiation. And what this is creating either a tangible or an intangible benefit for the customer so that they'll prefer your product. Now, it's easiest to think about it as being some kind of a tangible thing where we increase our cost in some way to give the product a additional flair, but it's equally important to have an intangible benefit as well. All you can do is look at someone like Oprah and the impact that she has with her book club. She can select a regular book by an unknown author, and if she likes it, boy, the sales just soar. There's nothing different about that book than there was before the author showed up on the show, but it's her celebrity appeal that creates an intangible benefit for the customer. So when we're looking at differentiation, we may do something that increases cost, or it may be something where it just is the intangible benefit that there's no increase of cost. And it may allow us to either not be able to increase price or to increase price. And a lot of it's going to depend upon what that marketplace looks like. But even where you don't have the ability to increase price, when you differentiate your product, it helps to develop brand loyalty, and that's exceedingly important as well. So how does this work? What you're trying to do is create competitive advantage by either commanding a premium price and or increasing unit sales and or building brand loyalty. And what you want to do is to use techniques that will increase the value of the product that are not easily matched and not cheaply copied. Probably the best thing or the easiest thing for you to do is to get good celebrity appeal. And you know, in the game, as you look at how the game operates, you'll see that the various celebrities who are available for endorsement have an appeal in different market areas, strengths in different market areas. So for example, somebody who plays soccer is going to have a market appeal worldwide because soccer is popular everywhere. Someone like Oprah is going to have appeal worldwide. There's a young lady from South Korea who is a great golfer. That'll have her endorsement will have appeal in North America and also in Asia, but not necessarily that much in Latin America or in Europe, Africa. So you need to examine what celebrity is out there and how they relate to the marketplace you're going to work in. And then you have to figure out how much you're willing to pay for that endorsement. And the ideal is to be able to earn more than you've had to pay to get the endorsement. Now, we can look at some differentiation themes, some ways people have gone about differentiating their product. And some of these are applicable to the game. The first one is have a wide selection for one-stop shopping. Example of that would be Home Depot, where they've taken a very ordinary home improvement kind of a store, have essentially wiped out all of the small mom and pop stores and have the single high value, wide selection for their customers. You can do this by increasing the amount of model styles that you offer. You can do this with superior service. And FedEx today doesn't use the ad that they started with, but they always were known for, if you absolutely positively have to have it tomorrow, use FedEx. This is true at Nordstrom's as well, where they have a superior service, take back anything, anytime, even sometimes things that they never sold in the first place. And their belief it's more important and cheaper to retain a customer than to lose a customer and try and get a new one. So they'll always try and maintain customers by absolutely superior customer service. You have the ability to do this by managing your supply chain. If you can shorten up the time it takes to get your product to the retailer, it makes you more appealing and it gives you a differentiation benefit. Prestige. You can do this with your celebrity appeals as well, and you can think about companies like Rolex or Prada that over the years have built a superior position with a more expensive product. But it's not something that came overnight. It had to be developed over years. Quality manufacturer, Honda and Toyota. I had a Honda that worked pretty well until my grandson blew up the engine with about 450,000 miles on it. And as I got my oil changed one time with over 400,000 miles on it, the man at the service station said, you know, this engine looks brand new. You ought to take it back to Honda and sell it to them so they can cut it apart and find out what they did right. They really have developed a very strong quality manufacturing reputation, which they use to differentiate their product. And you can do this with the quality of product that you make. Top of the line image, Ralph Lauren, Starbucks, Chanel. These are names that we all know that just have the top of the line image. And in each case of the things I've mentioned, it's very difficult for someone to copy and create a similar kind of marketplace without a lot of time and a lot of effort. So let's take a look at Starbucks. And as an example here, Starbucks started out as a coffee bean sales company. And what they've developed is to sell experience. And this is very difficult to do. They've had to earn the right to do it over time. And you'll see in the slide here what a typical coffee shop looks like. It's just kind of junky and doesn't have any pizzazz to it. By contrast, in the upper right-hand corner, you see the interior of a Starbucks, where I know you've all been, where it's set up to be very inviting. And of course, their idea is to make Starbucks the third place. You've got your home, you've got your work, and the third place is where you go to drink your coffee and enjoy the ambiance and the interplay with the barista. Now, it used to be that one of the strongest coffee franchises in the country was Folgers. This is a company that was owned by Procter & Gamble. And they'd built it from a regional brand into a real national powerhouse. But within the last 2 years, they've sold off that Folgers line, even though I'm sure it's still eminently profitable. And the reason that they've had to do that they've chosen to do that, and they saw that they had to do it, was because they can't compete with Starbucks. Starbucks isn't selling coffee. They're selling experience. And as a result, although Procter & Gamble, who owns Folgers, or owned Folgers, tried a couple of different techniques to see if they could recreate the experience in the customer's home, they were unsuccessful in doing this. And what they did is they made a deal with Mr. Coffee and with Black & Decker to put a bag of Folgers beans into the box with the coffee maker from those two manufacturers, trying to encourage the homeowner to recreate the experience in their home that they could experience at Starbucks, and it just wasn't possible. So what Starbucks had done was to do kind of an end around in the marketplace, getting around the major coffee manufacturers, selling experience, and putting themselves in a position that where they were differentiated and where it was very difficult for anyone else to come in and take market share away from them. Now, one other thing that we want to look at as far as differentiation is concerned is perceived value. And people don't pay for value that they don't perceive. Their perception is reality, and we have to accept that. The price premium differentiation reflects is the value actually delivered to the buyer plus the value that the buyer perceives. And this is just exceedingly important to look at what the customer says is value as being objective reality. It has nothing to do with what you think it is. It's all about what they think. Now, this is an interesting phenomenon in that in many cases, there are products that it's easier to perceive what they are if you can test drive them and then buy, rather than just buy out of a catalog. This is one of the things that you have to overcome in selling via the internet. If you would go to buy an automobile, one of the important parts of the whole sales process is that test drive, because you begin to put yourself in the position of being that car owner, and that can't be done by looking at a brochure. In the case of many of the internet products, what we've seen is people end up doing showrooming. If they wanted to buy a piece of electronic equipment, they know they can get it cheaply on the internet, but they'll go down to Best Buy or any other place that might sell electronics and actually test it out, and then go home and buy it on the internet. But once they've had the opportunity to hold it and try it, they have a far different perception of the value than they do just looking at price in a catalog. So what is important to do is to recognize that the actual value and the perceived value may be different. And incidentally, what happened, the term for this, going into Best Buy or one of the other retailers and handling their stock and then going home and buying it on the internet, was called showrooming. And it represented a real threat to Best Buy. And their antidote to this was to say, hey, look, bring in an ad of what it is you want to buy on the internet and show us, and we'll match that price, and you get the benefit that you can carry that product home with you. So try it out all you want and just see us before you leave the store, because we'll give you the same deal, but the benefit of being able to take the product home and not even having to wait till tomorrow for it. So just as a final thing on this, customer perception is reality.